Welcome into what episode number is this? 10. It's episode 10 of BLT Bets. Shout out to our friends at PointsBet Canada. Shout out to you, Liam.
Shout out to you, Tyler. We made it. We're the most consistent part of this show.
Yeah, we are. Bag Milk is on vacation this week, so he's up. The Oilers get bounced. Bag Milk's like, you know what I'm doing? I'm going to Vancouver. Have you ever been to Vancouver?
Fantastic. I love Vancouver.
Really?
I remember the one time I went, my friend lived in Kitsilano, and I couldn't figure out how to use the buses. Mm-hmm. So I just walked around Vancouver, and it was a long, long day. Right around Stanley Park, I never realized how big it was until I started walking.
I would love to go. I've never been, I've been to the airport when I had to lay over for another flight, but I've never been that far east in Canada. The furthest east I would have been is whatever, Kamloops, Kelowna. I haven't actually, no, that is a lie. I once did when I was 15 or 16, maybe even younger. I might have only been 14. My family drove to Seattle one summer.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a trek, but we didn't stop in Vancouver. It was one of the ideas we threw around, but we just didn't stop in Vancouver. We just drove all the way to Seattle.
Straight shoot. One time when I was in Vancouver, me and my buddy got a bus from Vancouver to Seattle for $20.
Catch a Mariners game.
We did. Mariners White Sox.
Who won?
It was Mariners won. I think it was 5-0 after the first, and that's how it ended. Ooh. And Ricardo Lopez, was that his name? Pitched for the White Sox.
Oh yeah, okay.
Pulled after 2.
We went on that trip, and it was my first ever MLB game. The Jays were in Seattle, and Felix Hernandez on the bump. So, you got that section in the back where they all had the K signs playing the Jays. First pitch of the game, Jose Reyes, boom, home run. The first pitch I've ever seen live in a Major League Baseball game was a solo dinger from Jose Reyes.
It really doesn't get better than that. Did the Jays win?
I don't remember, honestly, because, again, I was 14. I just remember he hit that dinger, and it was fun. We went to 3 ball games. Seattle's a cool spot. I've never been back. I want to go back to Seattle, and I want to go to Vancouver. I'm going to be in Montreal. I've never been to Montreal before.
I've never been there either, but I've heard a lot of good things about Montreal. Very underrated city, from what I hear.
Yeah, a bit of a party city. I've heard it's very easy to get lost in the night in Montreal, I suppose.
The Grand Prix looked good there this weekend, actually.
Gregor was there. Jason Gregor was there. But it did look like a lot of fun. Expensive as hell, apparently, though. I was talking to my brother-in-law. He's a big F1 guy. And he was honestly, for the money you'd spend to go to Montreal to that one, he was just fly somewhere to Europe. Just go to Europe and watch it somewhere there. I
don't even know if F1 would be that good to watch live. I feel everything else, right? The experience. Yeah, that's what I heard. It's the experience of Formula One is what you go for. But yeah, if I was going to go to a Formula One race, Montreal wouldn't be top 5.
No.
On that list. Not at all.
You've been to Toronto a few times, right?
I have actually never been to Toronto. I've been to Niagara Falls.
So where did you fly into?
Sorry, I flew to Toronto, then I drove to Niagara Falls, but I've never been downtown Toronto. Absolute nightmare, by the way. Are you
coming in August on our nation vacation?
I'm gonna see if I can squeeze it in.
You should.
I mean,
Toronto's a fun time.
2 Jays games, TFC game.
Mm-hmm. And we
the Jays play Yankees, Angels,
the Guardians.
Oh, perfect.
So we are putting gobs of money on the Blue Jays to win and drinking a million beers on out in the outfield. We're sitting in the home run area, so we're hoping to catch a ball. Bring your mitt.
Catch a ball from future Blue Jay Jose Ramirez.
He's one of my favorite future Blue Jays. Every fan base has those guys, right? Where it's you are so locked in on him being a future member of your team. Nothing else matters. Every rumor is about them. Ramirez is one of those guys. Every offseason for the last 3 years, it's been all right, how are the Jays going to get Ramirez out of Cleveland? Then he signs that extension, and it's damn it.
This year seemed like it was the closest I ever got.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just glad we made it out of the Jay Bruce era.
Oh my God. That is a great pull, man. That was 4 straight winters for Jay's fans. I'm Jay Bruce, future Blue Jay.
He's the guy. Never worked out.
That's like the Oilers have a few guys like that too, like Drew Stafford. Jim Matheson would always pump the Drew Stafford thing.
Do you think Jake DeBrusk is that guy now?
Yeah.
I feel like every time his name gets brought up, I see the Photoshop of Jake DeBrusk and I know it was Jesse.
It's kind of like any Edmonton or local guy. I feel like that's the same with every fan base though, right? Like if there's a guy from your city of the team you cheer for and they're reportedly out there, it's like, all right, what do we got to do? How do we get this guy here? Like he's a fit, bring him home.
Why wouldn't he want to come here? He's not only not lived here for the last 15 years of his life. He loves Edmonton.
Let's talk a little hockey here, I suppose. And the Stanley Cup Finals, Game 4 goes tonight between the Lightning and the Avs. After 2, the talk was quick series, right? It was, all right, the Avs are just a juggernaut. They are way too much for anyone to handle. And then the Lightning, they woke up in Game 3, and I think they maybe exposed the fatal flaw of the Avalanche, and that's subpar goaltending. Because when Kemper's off, he's real off. And I know Vasilevsky hasn't been great this series either. It's been great if you've been betting the over every game. But I think that gives me reason to think that the fact I bet on the Lightning to start at plus 150, bet on them when they were down 1-0 at plus 230, I'm actually a little confident in these picks.
Well, the Lightning went down 2-0 last series against the Rangers, against the best goalie in the league, right? Well, we saw that last night. He won the Vezina. But yeah, like it's hard to doubt the Lightning. Like this has kind of been my thing the entire run, besides when I went on my own little tangent a couple of weeks ago and said Colorado was going to sweep. Yeah. But besides that, like, I just think until you win, you shouldn't be the favorite, I guess is a good way to put it. Or like to be doubted. Like Tampa shouldn't be doubted. And one thing that I liked the most about Tampa Bay last game, and I think it was very well replicated by Nick Paul, is just they have such a will to win. Like when Nick Paul scored that goal, he was basically skating on the ice with one leg not working, kind of like Draisaitl, but it almost seemed a little worse, I suppose. And then he scores, and it's just like Tampa Bay just seems to have that will to want to do whatever it takes to get over the hump. And if they tie the series tonight, pardon?
That's their experience, I think, coming through as well, right?
Exactly, yeah. And now we're one game away from the series being tied. And I think once it gets back to level terms, then it's right in favor of Tampa Bay again.
Yeah, I mean, the thing for Colorado will always be the home ice advantage, right? The fact that they're going to get 2 of those last 3, if we need them all, in Denver. I think that'll be huge. Their building's been awesome. Like that Colorado fan base, they go hard. So that's always going to be the reason I have pause. Even if Tampa wins, I'd be like, okay, you still got to take 1 in Colorado and win on home ice. But like with the goaltending up in the air, Tampa missing Braden Point now, but granted they won without him. I don't know. It's just momentum never carries over from game to game. Sometimes we talk about it. I think in the moment when you're doing analysis, it's hard to forget that. But who saw, like before Game 3, if you had to make a pick, it would have been like, okay, maybe Tampa wins a tight one here because the home crowd gives them a boost. No one saw them beating the wheels off the Avs in that hockey game.
Yeah. Well, isn't it Frank that always says never bet on the team that gets beat? Like in Game 2, they got hammered 7-0 was the final, right? And then they come back and win a big one. Like Game 4 tonight, if Colorado win, I think it's done. Like like that seems like an obvious statement. But it's funny you say like the home ice advantage, because that was Colorado's first loss on the road this playoffs last game. That's the first time they've lost on the road in the playoffs. And, the only games they've lost are at home, which were only against St. Louis. Like they've just been so, so good. It's so impressive what they've been able to do. And like Tampa Bay has had to have a bit of an adversity, I guess, which almost like, the stories are both interesting in the sense of like Colorado doesn't know how to lose, but Tampa Bay has figured out a way that like if they do lose, they know how to come back and win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then tonight they're a pick 'em. Like even the Bucks don't know which way it's going to go.
And I find that interesting too, because like the Lightning obviously dogs for games 1 and 2. I get home ice gives you a bit of a pushback there, but for this to be all the way to pick 'em, and I'm actually seeing like PointsBet, the line is shifting a little bit towards the Lightning. They're now minus 115 and the Avs are minus 110. So that tells you there's probably a bit of money coming in on Tampa Bay. The spot I love tonight though is the over. It's hitting every game. They've gotten to 7 goals in every game. And on PointsBet, the over is paying even money and it's set in an even 6. Vasilevsky's been not great, I guess, is not Vasilevsky, you could say. So even if Tampa wins, for him to give up 2 goals and it's a 4-2 win, you get a push, or a 5-2 with an empty netter, I think that's realistic. And if Colorado wins, they're probably popping 3, 4, or 5 past Vasilevsky, and there's no way I have any confidence. I would have any confidence in Kemper not giving up 2 or 3.
Well, here's a question. What if Kemper doesn't play?
Then I love him over even more.
You think so?
Yeah.
Interesting. Because I know the conversation now is like, is Francouz the better goalie right now? He hasn't lost a game in the playoffs. 6-0, I think he is. Like, if he's in, does that kind of sway it? I'm with you. I don't think it does, but I think it's a conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Kemper starts, and I like the over. It's just a little over. You said even money now, right? I got that right around there too. Like, that's probably a good spot. And I think the series gets tied tonight. I really do. I think Tampa Bay. It's that thing you like to say. Till you lose at home, right? Like, and I don't know. I just think Tampa Bay, just the way they had that will to come out last game and do what they did against Colorado, it just, I guess, almost inspires me to bet on them, if you want to put it that way.
Even money on the money line, or take them in reg. What are they in reg? Plus 130 to win this game in regulation. Do you think we're getting OT for a second time? I don't think so.
I don't think so either, because I think Colorado kind of just fell asleep a little bit in game 1 and then it came back. I don't know. I think that's what it's going to take for it to go to overtime. I just feel like when one team's on it in this game, the other team just isn't. It's kind of been the way it is. It seems like an obvious statement, but just the games aren't very close besides game 1, which really wasn't even that close either. Colorado just kind of let Tampa Bay back in it, So, I think maybe even puck line. Like, is that too crazy with the empty nets? Like, I love doing puck lines in the playoffs. It just seems like if they're going to win, they're probably going to win by 2, right? Like right now I have it at plus 225 for Tampa to win by 2 or more.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
Maybe that's one of the legs on the sandwich. You have to stay tuned. Sandwich, yes.
Vasilevsky saves is an interesting spot tonight as well. The line set at 32.5. He had 37 saves last game, only 23 in the second game when he got lit up, and then 34 in game 1. Colorado puts a lot of pucks on net. Lots of pucks on net. They love putting rubber on net.
And they're never pulling him. Vasilevsky will not get pulled. Like, Brian Elliott will not be. He'll get a ring if they win, but he won't have played a minute in this playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, almost makes it more likely that it'll hit. Like you said, Colorado shoots everything.
They're averaging 39.8 shots per game in the playoffs.
That is nuts. And you've got to think too, there's a series in there against St. Louis where McKinnon's line was shut down by Ryan O'Reilly. Yeah. And their numbers are still that high. Like, that's nuts. And also 30, what did you say? 38.9?
39.8 shots per game.
Holy smokes.
Even if they hit their average and score 6 goals, the Vasilevsky bet hits.
Yeah, I think that one seems like a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, I like that spot. The other two I liked are Anthony Cirelli to get a point at plus 115. Great spot. Braden Point's out of the lineup. I talked about this on the Daily Faceoff show today. Braden Point's out of the lineup. Cirelli gets moved up to the top power play unit, gets a little bit more offensive zone responsibility as well. Cirelli at plus 115 to get a point. He's hit it in 2 of 3. I think that's a really, really solid spot. I also like Mikko Rantanen to pick up an assist. He's hit this one. It's minus 135. He's got 3 straight multi-assist games.
Wow.
Yeah, if you bet on him to get multiple assists again tonight, it's plus 315. That's crazy.
Is there an update on Kucherov? Do we know much on his status? He is playing. Okay.
Yeah. But again, how healthy is he?
Yeah, like I wonder if someone like Stamkos is a good person to kind of look at tonight. And obviously, like, he's a star player, but he seems to be showing up at like critical moments for them. Like, he had a goal last game, and I don't know, if like there's so many guys out of the lineup, and Stamkos, the guy who's usually always out of the lineup in the playoffs, is like still around playing. Maybe he's the guy. I have him plus 180 tonight to score. I actually don't mind that. But also Palat, does playoff Palat continue? Plus 230 to score?
Palat to go over 2.5 shots is plus 140. Plus 140. He's hit this mark. He's gone over 2.5 in 3 of 5 games. Good number.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty good one too.
Yeah. And
I like looking at the guys that are like 1.5 shots.
It's always intriguing, eh?
It always locks me in. Like, there's a couple here I've noticed. Nick Paul, Corey Perry. Like, if Corey Perry's on the power play, a couple of greasy shots from in front, a tip, like, he could grab a couple there. Like, I don't have any of the stats in front of me to back up if he's hit that or anything, but, there's a bunch of them here on Tampa Bay. Even in Colorado, like, Bowen Byram.
Perry's hit it in back-to-back games, but only 2 of his last 5.
Back-to-back games, though.
Yeah, back-to-back games. Bowen Byram, is he 1.5?
1.5, minus 140.
He's hit it in 3 of 5. It's not terrible.
Not terrible.
Yeah, I love the Palat play. I'm doing the Palat shots, Vasilevsky saves, Cirelli point, and Rantanen assist. Those are my 4 props, and then I'm taking the over. So 5 plays tonight in this one. Woo!
I'm definitely going to go with the Vasilevsky one too. And then I'm going to do a little bit more research, a bit more prepared than I am right now. And then see what else I can find on the player props. Put it in our community page.
Yep, there you go. There you go. I'm going to post mine right now. Actually, no, I'll do it later. I want people to listen to the podcast. Come on. Yeah, it'll be interesting tonight. It'll be interesting to see how the series odds shift too. Like if it is 2-2, Tampa Bay started at plus 150, jumped to plus 230, they opened. They were plus 230 after game 1, plus 450 after game 2, which is crazy. But I wasn't betting on them then. There was no confidence in them. And then now they're back down to plus 230. So if they win tonight, will it be like momentum? Like, here we go. And do the sportsbooks make it a pick 'em, or is the home ice advantage enough to shift it?
Well, it's interesting just based off what they did. Like, obviously going up 2-0 is a lot different than going in 2-2, but clearly that has some momentum factor to it. You would have to imagine to go up to plus 450. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they just made it like an even pick 'em one way,
I could see it. I could definitely see it.
Especially the way they've made the lines for both games in Tampa. Mm-hmm. Both of them are pick 'ems. Like, maybe they just don't know.
They have no idea. The sportsbooks, no clue. Yeah. Let's talk a little baseball. At the time of us recording this, the Jays are 15 minutes away from getting going here. They're sending Ross Stripling to the bump to try not get swept by the Chicago White Sox. Man, when they beat the Yankees, that last win of the series, I was like, here we go. Like, they are building up momentum. This is going to be like a big run coming for the Jays. And then they just go, and I mean, they pissed away a stupid lead yesterday. Like, that was embarrassing. And it's not been a great look for the Toronto Blue Jays here. They're struggling right now, man.
And the thing is too, they're losing to a team that's right there with them in the wild card race. Mm-hmm. Like, the White Sox have been injured for most of the year, right? Like, a lot of their guys have been hurt, and now it seems like they're kind of getting a little bit more healthy. Like, White Sox, if they win tonight, will be only 4 games back of the Blue Jays in a wild card spot. Or this afternoon, I guess.
Yeah, that's
not ideal.
Yeah.
But after this, who do they have? Like, Brewers, Red Sox, Rays.
It's 3 really good baseball teams.
I was going to say, like, it's not getting easier for them the more this goes on. They're not playing Oakland until right after that. So maybe that could help them a little bit. It's like, okay, well, if this doesn't go too well, at least we have the A's a little bit after. But yeah, it's been tough to bet on them recently. You can bet the over, I suppose. That's been hitting pretty consistently just because they've been allowing so much. Like, what do you think the issue is right now with the Jays?
They don't have any bullpen arms. Like, I mean, you lost a game yesterday because of your lack of bullpen arms, and there's been other games too where like they look good for a while and the bullpen just pisses it away. So the lack of bullpen arms is concerning. Ross Stripling's been good recently, so you're hoping he can continue that today. But still, I mean, it's I don't know. Maybe it's just midseason blues. Like, they had an 8-game heater a month ago. Maybe they're due for another one, but it's also disappointing when like you look ahead of you in the standings and the Yankees are so far ahead of everyone. The Yankees have like a plus 170 run differential already. It's stupid how good they are.
Yeah, they've been dominant. Like you said, that was a big win for the Jays against the Yankees, and then just to piss it away basically against the White Sox, it's not good. But like you said, like, Ross Stripling's been really good.
Yep.
He's been probably one of the best pitchers on this team recently. So he hasn't given up more than 5 runs in a game since the Yankees on May 2nd.
Wow.
So last game actually was, that was hits. September 25th was the last time he allowed 5 or more runs in a game against the Rays. He's been 2-0-0-0-1-0-0-1-0.
That's good.
That's pretty good.
You bet on the Jays as slight underdogs today?
Well, I was thinking, what if you did the first 5?
Just with Stripling.
Yeah, you bet just on Stripling to do it. It's minus 115 right now for the Jays to win in the first 5 innings. What do you think?
I like that. I think that's a solid spot.
And then who are the White Sox going with? I didn't catch that.
The Chi Sox are going with Lucas Giolito, who he's good.
Been struggling though.
Yeah, he's a good arm who's having a bad year, I think is the right way to put it. Like in his last 3 games, 8 earned against Houston, 4 earned against Texas. And then he had a good start against Tampa where he only gave up 2 earned, but even then he gave up 8 hits. So I also think, maybe if there's a spot to take the Jays, which I know this is available on some books, you can take them to get like over a certain amount of hits as a team. They don't have Springer today. That's a little concerning, but they've still been hitting the ball well. I think the over is a great spot today. You look at the Jays schedule, last 9 games, they've hit the over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times in the last 9 games.
Are there any player props you like then with the over kind of being in play? It seems like it's going to be offensive.
Yeah, I like Vladdy over 1.5 total bases, and I like Chapman over half a total base at minus 133. I think those are both really nice spots.
I want to quickly ask you, as a bigger baseball fan than I am, what did you make of the uproar of the All-Star voting yesterday?
But like, what's even the uproar? That fans vote? Like I was just so confused. Like people are like, oh yeah, 4 J's in there, blah, 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 this, that. Why is this guy? And it's like, fans are voting. Like, what are you mad at that 1 million fans want Alejandro Kirk in the All-Star game? Like this shit happens every year. Like we know exactly how this rolls. It's not like it's MLB executives or like the media being like, Alejandro Kirk, best catcher in the American League, which there are statistics that show he's one of the best catchers in the American League. Like this is not an insane thing.
That was my thing too, is I get it. Like you want the all-stars there, but also it's not like Kirk is not deserving of being in the conversation.
He's having a great year.
Yeah, he's having a great year. And that was the same with like a lot of the other guys too. We were like, right up at number 1 is like, these guys are like a really good players. Like maybe there should be a couple more Yankees in there, sure. But also like get off your ass and vote. If you don't like it, then vote. It's free. You can literally do it on your phone while you're looking at Twitter and complaining. Just hit the link and click MLB All-Star vote and you can do it.
And also the other thing too is like, it's an all-star game, people. Like I understand like talking about snubs and shit like that. But at the same time, like, if Bo Bichette didn't go to the All-Star game this year, I would be like, mildly disappointing, but Bo Bichette gets like 4 days off in the middle of a baseball season. That's rare. Kevin Gausman doesn't go to the All-Star game. I won't be like, what the hell? I'll be like, oh, great. We're not risking Kevin Gausman getting hurt to pitch in the Midsummer Classic like the night after the fucking ESPYs. Like, who cares?
Yeah. Wasn't it only when Kansas were really good? Like they had basically an entire starting lineup. Wasn't it only Mike Trout was the only star or something not from Kansas?
And I think that might have even been the year where it was like in Kansas City or some nonsense.
It might have been too, yeah.
But yeah, I remember that their fans voted in like their whole starting lineup. It was like all them and Trout. And it was like, okay, well, yeah. Like again, it's an all-star game.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's good that people actually want to pay attention. And to care care enough to like Toronto, like it's good. This team has been away from the city for what is this, the first full year back, or did they played last year, right?
They got half.
The first year with fans, I guess, yeah. And now people are engaged. This team's good, and people want to see him in the All-Star game. And also, they're like the next generation. Like Vladdy and Bo are the next 2 of the next stars in the league. Vladdy's already there. Bo's like well on his way, but I just don't understand why everyone's so upset. Just vote.
Yeah.
And that's my baseball rant for the day. Until next month.
Until next month. Okay, I want to wrap up with this. And I'm very interested to hear people, again, hit us up in our Twitter community with your ranking. I put this out a week ago on Twitter, and I said the most entertaining sports to wager on. Number one, I had NFL football. And this is not just straight betting. I include kind of like DFS, DraftKings, all that stuff in there. Number one, NFL football. Betting on it, electric. Sitting down on a Sunday with multiple screens, watching all these games, unreal. The DraftKings side of it and playing daily fantasy sports, sweet. I love it. The research you can put into it, building the lineups, I eat it up. I absolutely love NFL season. Number two for me is golf. There is nothing better than sitting down on a Sunday when you have a guy you pick to win in contention at a major. And early on, because again, a big part of this is DFS for me. Researching my picks for DFS, love it. Building 30 lineups for DraftKings, love it. When you have a group of 6 guys who like might make the cut, might not make the cut on Friday, you're sweating on Friday already. Saturday, moving day, you're sweating. Sunday, it's great. I love DFS. So I said NFL football's 1, 2 is golf, sizable tier drop off. Then at number 3, I had basketball, but not winner loser. I only go with over-unders or player props. Keeps you in the game. Yeah. I love in March Madness, just blindly, if there's a game on, I just blindly bet the over in the first half. Who cares? Whatever. It's fun money. Doesn't matter. And like sitting there in every bucket being like, okay, what are they on pace for now? We need a quick 3. Couple threes get made. You're fucking getting into it. So basketball was number 3. Number 4 for me was hockey. I love the sport. The sport is entertaining. Betting on it is like,
It's like, hard. It's just different. It's just very different.
So when I can find somewhere to bet on player or on team shots, that's better. Like if I'm watching a game that I don't care about, like it's not the Oilers, not a team I'm rooting for, it's just hockey. If I can bet on team shots on goal, that keeps me in the game. Because again, you're kind of like watching every play as it goes. Player shots on goal is good, but even like over-unders don't really give me like a huge sweat in hockey because like the sweat doesn't come until late in the game, you know, like it's a slow burn kind of with hockey.
Yeah, I agree. Like hockey, and I just feel like the odds aren't in your favor very much either.
Yeah.
It's hard to win, which I think makes it less fun to bet on. Like the other ones is like you said, like the NBA props is the thrill of the last like 3 minutes of them just going back and forth, like chucking up balls.
Yeah.
You know, there's that. And then like hockey, like, I don't know, like you're kind of just banking on half the time the over to hit when someone pulls the goalie.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just not as entertaining in that aspect of things. And I love hockey. It's probably my favorite sport.
And hockey DraftKings is just a total shit show. It's such a crapshoot because any given night, some random third liner will score 2 goals. And like you can sit there and pay up for the superstars. But again, like even the best players in the world, Connor McDavid's usually too expensive to fit into a decent lineup. And everyone else, like the stars, don't produce every night. It's not a guarantee. So I have that there. And then 5, I have baseball for kind of the same reasons. Like you can load up a DraftKings lineup. And one of the things I want to do is get more into MLB DFS because I've heard once you get like the hang of it and get a good strategy, it's fun. I've never been able to find that though. The best players can go 0 for 4 every third game. Like that shit happens. So like DFS is really hard for baseball. It's also a bit of a slow burn. Like I don't mind doing a little first 5 over under action. That's fun. When I'm watching Jays games, yeah, I do think there are areas where you can, just by even looking at pitching matchups, really make some money betting first 5s in baseball. That's something I got really into last summer. I had a system of like sort of a checklist where I'd look at a game, you know, look at the pitchers' ERAs, look at their ERAs over the last 3 starts, take a look at the other team, how they hit against either a lefty or a righty. And if it sort of checked all these boxes, then I'd play the first 5 innings and take the bullpen out of it. But baseball was 5 on my list. So it was NFL football, golf, basketball, over-unders or props, hockey, baseball. Liam, your rankings.
My rankings. Coming in at number 1, NFL. Just everything about it is pure entertainment. The fact I can just sit on my ass all day and watch every single game on Red Zone and all that stuff just makes it so much better. Number 2, I actually have NBA. And I have that in the sense of like, I think the NBA does such a good job in the playoffs of lining everything up that it's like you never miss a game. And even like on Christmas, like the games never overlap. Like the scheduling is just so good that I can bet on 8 straight games and I can watch every single game. So I love that about the NBA. And like I said, just the idea of guys just chucking it up and just doing all that kind of stuff. Like I just really like the pace of it and the excitement of betting. Like even when I lose, it's like, okay, well, at least I enjoyed the game.
Yeah, you get a bit of it. That's the hobby part of it, right? Like at least if you lose, you're like, ah, shit, at least I had a good time watching this game.
Yeah. Number 3, English Premier League. That's the Englishman coming out in me. Just the money you can make from it is kind of takes it up the lineup a little bit for me. Like you'll get like guys like Harry Kane, who's just like an elite scorer, and he's like plus 200 to score, and he gets like 30 goals a year. Mm-hmm. You know, it's stuff like that. And it's like sometimes teams, the Bucks don't quite pick up on like how good teams are and that kind of stuff. So that kind of helps with some of the odds. Number 4, I have golf. I'm very new to golf betting. The last couple of years I've bet into it, but Masters was the first one I really bet on heavily. I had a decent weekend at the US Open. I only bet 3 balls, but on the first day I went 3 for 4. So that was nice.
And those are all like plus 150, plus 175.
Yeah, I think the lowest one I had was Corey Connors at plus 120, maybe. It was something like that. So that's good. And it's just the idea of like it's fan friendly, I guess you could say. And number 5, I'm going to go NHL just from watching the Oilers and stuff like that with Connor McDavid over 1.5 and Draisaitl. Honorable mention to Formula One. It's getting into it, but it's fun that the idea of, yes, there's 20 races in this race, but then only one of them's winning, so you can't let down those guys, and it kind of keeps you involved with like the entire grid, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. That's my 5. So NFL, NBA, English Premier League, golf, NHL. I think that's the way I did it. And then Formula One, honorable mention.
I can't argue with it. Like I'm not a big F1 guy. I'm not a big Premier League. I'm not a big footy guy. But I definitely see the appeal of it. I also like, just from what I do know, the idea of like you parlay a team with like how many corners there's going to be in a game, like those little weird props. Like, I don't know. I could see myself getting into that.
Yeah, those are the fun ones. And I don't know. I like the idea of being involved in all aspects of the game. Like everything matters. I like that. And like, you just don't get that with some of the sports, like especially NHL. And also like, I think NFL plays into it because like, I like to bet on my fantasy players. So that if they both have good weeks, and I have a great week, but if they both have terrible weeks, and I have a terrible week.
And all right, okay, I'm gonna wrap this up. That's a good list. I'm gonna wrap this up because the Jays game's starting. First pitch has not even been thrown out yet, and the Jays have already had a coach ejected for arguing with the umpires.
Oh my goodness! Well, after yesterday
was a shit show.
Fair enough.
But Guillermo Martinez went out to give the lineup card, started mouthing off to the umps, and they tossed him.
So today should definitely go well for the Jays.
Yeah. Good vibes already for the Toronto Blue Jays. This is going to be it for another episode of BLT Bets. Shout out to Bag Milk, who will be back on our next episode, and we'll mix in some other stuff. The off season is going to be weird when there's only baseball to bet on. I don't know what we're going to do to fill our shows, but we will figure it out. Let us know your rankings, top 5 sports to bet on in our Twitter community, BLT Bets. Also, we'll be dropping all of our Stanley Cup plays, and I'm going to start betting more on baseball. I'm going to get more into betting on baseball, and I'll drop my plays into the community as well. Thanks for tuning in. Shout out to our friends at PointsBet Canada, and we will talk again next week.